Good afternoon, welcome back to Linnets TV. Me, Sam Phillips. Now I'm joined by Runcorn manager Dave Wild. Dave, thanks a lot for joining us on this Friday afternoon.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I've finally broke up for the summer holidays from work, so it's all about Runcorn now, full scale, full steam ahead.
Broken up and all this nice weather's gone away.
I don't care. As football games, couldn't care less if it's rain, snow, or whatever. I mean, it's been full steam ahead, Runcorn at work. But just in case anyone from work's been listening to this, it's all about Runcorn. Wink, wink.
So we're a week, just coming up to a week into pre-season game-wise. 2 games so far. We'll start with the first one, away at Stockport, 2-2 draw. How did you feel going into that one and then coming out of it?
Well, it's been a bit of a chaotic week in terms of my personal life. I'm not going into it. Obviously, people at the club know what's been going on. So I wasn't actually at the game against Stockport either. Which has sort of killed the rest of the week for me personally as well, because obviously I've had to deal with a couple of things to do with my son, and ultimately that has to come first with his age and stuff. So it was just that was a sickener for me. But obviously Jamie took the game. There was positives in it, and ultimately it was an extremely hot day on a 4G pitch against a team that will be looking to win their league. And I think that was like their 5th pre-season friendly, so they're certainly way ahead of us in terms of fitness and match sharpness. We should, on paper, be beating those teams, and we've sat and discussed that, and that's no disrespect to them. It's like, for example, on Saturday when we play Chester should be beating us, and that's football, isn't it? That's how you look at it. But it's valuable minutes in the tank, and it's a tricky one for me to sort of discuss the Stockport one, because I wasn't specifically at the game. I obviously watched it back, and it's just not the same. So ultimately it was minutes in tank, and we moved on to Wednesday. But again, then when you look on to Wednesday, which I know you're going to ask about next, is the prep for the week's been shambolic and it's no one's fault. So my own situation affected Saturday, and then the weather affected because we should have been playing Tuesday, which has then obviously been moved to Wednesday, which has affected both sides of training. It's just been a bit of a messy week, and it's the same for everyone. It's the same for every club in the area because of the weather. But we had a gym session planned on on Thursday, because we were expecting to be playing Tuesday and giving them Wednesday off. So we obviously then had Tuesday in the gym, which was heavy work for the lads on the legs, to then play on the Wednesday to give them the rest for the Thursday. So it's just been a real non-league messy week, is how I describe it. But we got through, and minutes in tank.
Yeah, I've seen a picture that I think Rain Halliwell posted on his Instagram, and the lads look knackered after that gym session.
That's what I mean. And then, look, ultimately, I know that the result on Wednesday will probably raise quite a few eyebrows, and people will be thinking, yeah, what's going on here? We've played 2 Northwest Counties Ones team. We've not won a game, and it's raised eyebrows to myself as well. But it's no concern to me. Like, look at Everton. Yes, did they play yesterday?
Yeah,
Minnesota. It's just pre-season. It's not. Look, ultimately, we could have won both games 7-0, and we wouldn't have got anything for anything anyway. So it's just all about minutes in tank and whatnot. But yeah, like you say there, Rain obviously has put the picture out there, and it was, believe me, that was a tough session for him. So there was expected heavy legs. We had 1 or 2 missing as well, just because that's how it is in pre-season, sort of niggling injuries and lads on holiday and stuff. And we're still trying to adapt to a new system, a new management, a new style, and a new way. So it's going to take time, and ultimately, as long as we're ready for Widnes, I don't really mind if we lose every pre-season. Well, I do, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if we lost every pre-season game, as long as we go to Widnes prepped and ready to win.
Yeah, now we move on to the game on Wednesday night, the game that you were actually at. You travelled to the home of Mr. Runcorn himself, Matt Averton.
Yeah.
How did that one go down? I've unfortunately not been able to capture a Dave Wild side yet because of work commitments. But how did that one go?
Well, listen, mate. If you'd have been at the game, you still wouldn't have captured the Dave Wild side, because it was a shambles. Not shambles, it was harsh. There was a couple of standout performances. I think we looked we looked solid defensively. I don't think at any point was I sat in the dugout thinking we're going to lose this. I mean, ultimately we did, but I think it's more at the other end of the pitch at the minute in terms of creativity and, losing Ryan Brook and Ewan and Lynchy in one hit. I think it's hit us as a staff this week that we've got to now try and replace 60 goals just from them 3 players, give or take. So there's a lot of work still to be done. We've still got a lot of time and we'll get things right. But that wasn't we're not seeing Dave Wild performances yet. And you probably won't do for a number of weeks because ultimately lads are still very much on, or a bulk of the team is still very much on how Callum worked and it was successful. So why wouldn't you be? And I think I've got to then in turn sort of visit some of the stuff that Callum and his staff did well and integrate that into what I'm doing now, because ultimately I don't need to come in and completely transform everything. It's not like they finished 20th last season. And that's sort of us as a management staff to sort of work towards and tweak. But honestly, the performance was poor. I'm never ever going to sit here and tell you otherwise. If we play bad, you'll get told. There was very few positives. I thought Jack played very well. And the system looked okay, but we're going to have to revisit and tweak a few things. And that's ultimately my job. But like I said to Pete, the chairman, and Jeff, and 1 or 2 others that I've spoke to, it's I'd rather know these issues now than win every pre-season game and then these issues rear their head game 1 to 6. And ultimately that's what pre-season's about. It's trial and error and minutes in the tank. So it wasn't great. It wasn't a Dave Wild performance. And I'm telling you for free, it'll be much better on Saturday.
Yeah, well, moving on to Saturday, at time of sort of recording this, we're just over 24 hours till Runcorn return home. It's your first game in charge at the Apex Taxi Stadium. And what an occasion as well. I think a lot of people are going to take away from the fact that we're playing Chester. Obviously, it's Callum's return. A lot of people didn't get a chance to sort of say ta-ra after it is last time. But is it focusing on the game itself and not the occasion? How do we set up for a game against a team who, as you said before, should be beating us?
Exactly the same as look. If it was an FA Cup game or a trophy or whatever, I'd be setting up extremely differently. And that's not in terms of if the lads who are playing hear this. That's not like you wouldn't have played and da-da-da. But like, again, all I want to see tomorrow, based on what I saw on Wednesday, is a performance. We'll be setting up how I expect us to set up for most games in terms of tenacity and work rate and a little bit of extra effort off the ball. I think for the first time, well, certainly, I'm obviously struggling in terms of basing the Stockport Town game, so I'm basing this on Wednesday, is that we're going to see a lot less of the ball for the first time. And I think one thing that we struggled with on Wednesday was I want to play attractive, nice football, if that's what you want to call it these days. But I found that on Wednesday we didn't have any penetration with it. It was all very side to side and back and move it around. And we probably had about 70% possession and had about 2 shots. Whereas Saturday we'll probably expect to maybe polar opposite. I think we're going to have to sort of be backs to the wall. And if anything, that's what I want to see. Top and bottom is all these lads that are in the squad are capable of playing football. They're capable of playing attractive football, and ultimately we've still got a month left in terms of pre-season and stuff like that. We've barely done any ball work. It's all been fitness, all been getting legs in minutes and energy into the legs. So I'm looking forward to see where we're at in terms of fitness off the ball on Saturday. I'm not sitting here and saying we are going to lose because I want to win. I'll be going to win the game, but it's probably going to be a bit of a backs to wall, different style of approach, if that makes sense. But we're not scared of playing them. I want to be playing teams higher than us in pre-season because ultimately that's a better test. I'd rather play 6 teams from Chester's league and 2 from the league above and lose all 8 than play 7 teams from 2 divisions below and beat them and win every game, because I just think it's a much harder workout. So I'm looking forward to it. I think a big thing for me as well is obviously I've got a very good relationship with Callum. I'm very close with him, and I know he played quite a big part in me getting the job at Runcorn, and I'm obviously very grateful for that. And I don't want to take away. I'm really excited. It's my first home game. I get to meet the crowd and see how the club operates on a match day. But I think the occasion's probably more for him, like you said. I think a lot of people will want to say bye to him, and I don't begrudge that. So I hope fans recognise that it's just a friendly game, and me and Callum both get on very well. And I'll be saying hello to people, and he'll be saying bye to people, and that's fine. So it should be a good occasion, and that goes to his full staff as well, because I know that they're the same. I've spoken to one or two of them, the good people, as are my staff. So it'll be a good occasion. But obviously for 90 minutes, we'll probably want to punch each other's heads in across the dugout, and both teams want to win. But I can envisage that Callum's probably thinking the same thing. Is he's probably going to want to come and win, and ultimately if he loses, he's probably not going to be bothered. It's not like that, is it? It's pre-season. It's all about getting prep for Widnes for me. So
yeah. So we haven't had a chance to speak to you since the fixtures got released. Obviously, we're starting at home against the El Clasico, as it's dubbed, the derby of the Mersey Gateway Bridge. Is that already in the mind, or is it something that's too far away to think about?
Well, I tend to take games in sort of 2s and 3s in terms of the league. So obviously we've got Widnes, Mosley, and Hanley, but there's a cup game in between. And so I'm sort of looking at Widnes and Mosley as that first week. I went and watched Mosley last night against Earlham. They've got a good side, and obviously they're quite well bedded in, Mosley, in terms of sort of the players that they've got and the recruitment and whatnot. So I'm excited about the opening stages of the season. Obviously, I think as the weeks get closer and the sessions tick off, I think the players will see a big shift in how I work. It's very difficult, and I'd be amazed if any manager's any different to this. That it's just not the same pre-season. I'm not going to spend 48 hours of my life prepping to beat Chester by watching clips and watching footage and making sure that my sets are right and the players are fully engaged in X, Y, and Z, and it's all about minutes in the tank. So as we sort of edge towards week 1, game 2, that's when sort of the real management staff will come out and the prep. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it now. I think there's just no buzz for me with pre-season. It's exciting because I'm meeting new fans and new players and a new challenge, but until there's 3 points on the line, you're not really going to see the proper me, I don't think.
Yeah, we put out a little poll on Twitter before the fixtures came out about who you thought was going to be the first game. I put Mosley away. I just envisaged that it was going to be in the first couple, and I thought it might have been in the first one.
I've said to obviously my staff who know I've obviously been there, I said to Pete, maybe yourself, I can't remember, but I said 100% we will play Mosley away Tuesday night, second game of the season, and it's happened. So that's good. I'm glad it's one of them that it's not a grudge match in any way. I've got a lot of time for 90% of the people at Mosley. There's a few that got a couple of things to discuss with them. I saw 1 or 2 last night. Obviously John Warnby, the secretary, and his brother Nige, they were at the Earlham game last night. It was great to see them, and we just chatted all things football. It was great to see people like Topsy and 1 or 2 others there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going back. Mosley's a great club, and on a Tuesday night, it's a very, very, very special club. And I'm half glad that I'm going there on a Tuesday night rather than a Saturday, to be honest. So, but that's no bigger than Widnes, and Widnes is no bigger than Hanley, and Hanley's no bigger than Workington when we play them. So it's game at a time, 3 points at a time, and can we position ourselves where we want to be come sort of the Christmas period to look at the second stage of season. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting going proper me now. It's not the same. I can't get excited by it.
Now we have got sort of one exclusive to bring to the fans. That this hasn't sort of gone out. It's just something people would have seen on Wednesday night. Something that we've talked about. Obviously, you've brought in Tabs as another goalkeeper. Most people know Tabs from I think it's 134 appearances for Atherton Coles. Yeah. A very, very good goalkeeper, a very experienced goalkeeper. Was at Rochdale for a little bit. How does it feel to bring a goalkeeper of sort of that calibre in alongside Andy Coughlin?
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. Look, I said when Andy came to the club, I said to him, there's no 2 ways about it. I would always be getting a second goalkeeper. That's not to say Tabs will be the number 2. And it's not to say that he'll be the number 1. It's just that, you have competition for places everywhere across the pitch. And I think it should be the same for goalkeepers. So Tabs has come in. I've got quite a good relationship with Tabs. He's someone that I've tried to sign about 30 times, to be honest. I'm at a club. It's a really strange position, goalkeeper, because as soon as you have a bit of a wobble or an injury or a suspension, it's like, oh my God, I've got to go and find a keeper. And Tabs is always somebody that, every single time I've seen him play, he's been outstanding. He played for Everton last year against Matlock twice, and quite honestly, without him, they took 6 points off Matlock last season, and I was laughing with him on Wednesday in the dugout in the first half, saying without him in that net, we probably would have finished 3rd and had a home playoff. So he owes me one this season. But yeah, he's a really good goalkeeper. He's experienced. He's won this league before. He's played at big clubs within non-league. He's, I think other than Matlock last season, Everton had the lowest goals conceded in the league, and that's a side that finished near the bottom. So that tells you everything about him. I've obviously got a very good, really good relationship with Brad Cook, the manager at Everton, and he got on the phone to me with his reasoning why Tabs had moved out the club and stuff, and sung his praises, which I didn't need in any way, shape or form, because as soon as I knew he was available, he was certainly someone I would have wanted to speak to. So I'm really pleased to get him over the line. It's good competition for Andy, and it's a good indication of where we're trying to go as a football club in the whole, because ultimately I'm not going to sit here and tell you we are going to win the league, but that's what we want to do. We want to be finishing, if we can't finish first, we want to finish second, and I'll never change my opinion on that, any club. So, if a strong player becomes available, you certainly want to speak to him, and if he fits financially, which he does, he's coming. So everyone's very pleased about it.
Good.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Just you obviously mentioned Matlock there. Just a little bit away from Runcorn, it looks like today Chesterfield have signed one of your former players at Matlock, Jez, a player we've spoken about since you've come in. How does it feel? Obviously, a little bit more of a personal note. How does it feel for you to be able to say that a player that played for you is now a league footballer?
I'm really pleased. I'm proud of him, because I met Jez when he was 16. Well, I met him when he was 15. He come on one of these, these BTEC courses in Stockport, Manchester way, with a company called Coaching Connections, and he was the standout player for that for 2 years. But when we got hold of him, and I'm not sitting here saying it's because of me, because it's not. He's done all the work, but he was just a very, very, very good, fast street footballer. He didn't have a clue about football in terms of positional sense and what to do off the ball, what to do on the ball tactically. And it's been a long, incredibly frustrating process with him. But to get from that scraggly little 15-year-old kid that I met to a full-time footballer now in the shape he's in, with the brain he's got and the maturity that he's developed, I'm just really proud of him. I spoke to him, what day is it today? It's Friday. And I spoke to him on Wednesday when I got a bit of wind that it was happening. And he was very thankful for everything I've done for him and blah, blah, blah. But it's not about me, it's about him. He's done all the hard work. He's put all the hard miles in. He's been, let's not get it wrong. Me and him have had some really big bust-ups, big. But I've never once doubted his ability. And I just hope he takes Jez has got the ability to be his own worst enemy. In terms of just doing stupid stuff away from football, not nothing malicious or bad or criminal or anything like that, but he's matured so much in the last 18 months playing at Matlock with older sort of ex-pros and playing under and alongside Philo as well. I think that played a big part in his maturity, because the higher you go, you don't get as many opportunities, whereas when I had him at Stockport Town and at Mosley, because he was such a good player, you had to have him around, whereas it's a bit more cutthroat now. So I just hope, and I think he will, I just hope he takes it with both hands, because for me, that's not his ceiling. I think he'll go further and play higher and go again and get move after move. So I'm just really happy for him.
Good. Well,
should have put a percentage on him though, personally. Half annoyed myself.
We'll leave you to the rest of your Friday, Dave. Get yourself prepped and ready for the return home tomorrow afternoon. Thanks a lot for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you, and we'll speak to you again after tomorrow's game.
Man, I'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers, Dave.
See you, pal, bye.